which brought us to the next incident that happened on a day when I was weirdly off. I think we didn't have a show.
You had to take a Friday off or something.
Yeah, there was some Friday off, and it was
maybe
in the
had
summertime.
some other show had preempted your show.
I don't know why, but I was here, but...
Because normally he would be gone at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
But it was 6 a.m., and I normally would get up around 5:30, and the minute I get up, I take Hazel, and we have a terrace outside that she uses to go pee on, where she pees with her leg up. And
up, always.
And
boy pee.
I took her out. I opened up the screen door, and we have a security alarm system, the kind that you punch in numbers, and I forgot to punch in the numbers.
Uh-huh.
And all of a sudden, the alarm was blaring, and I thought, oh, no, he's going to wake up. That was my first thought, considerate that I am. Oh, God, he's going to wake up. So I quickly turned to run to shut the alarm off, and my foot, I had sneakers on, twisted and fell on the carpet. We have runners in the kitchen on both sides of the aisle.
Yeah.
Just runners, carpet runners. And I went smack down in front of the refrigerator with my nose. Now, I don't have a small nose. It's obvious to see.
On a hardwood floor.
God gave me a bigger nose, and I did not have plastic surgery.
Pretty.
So anyway, I hit the ground with my nose, and I actually saw the linoleum or whatever it was with my eyes. I could see. It was like I was swimming underwater, but it was actually the floor. And when I got up really fast, blood was just pouring all over me. And I was like Carrie, that movie Carrie, when she stands at the prom, and she's full of blood when the bucket goes over her. I have blood all over me. And Hazel's running around. She's happy. And I'm like, oh, my God, I broke my nose. So I burst into his room because he sleeps in another room during the week. And he's sound asleep. And I'm saying, Skip, Skip. And I run over to the bed and I shake him, Skip. And he turns and he goes, what? I go, look at my nose. I'm bleeding. He's like, what? What happened? I said, I broke my nose. There you go.
And I jumped up and I was worried about head injury.
Oh, yeah. You were.
As were you.
Yeah,
and
I didn't know if I hit my head.
We brought you into the living room and put you on the recliner.
And you did get me an ice pack.
Yeah, I got you an ice pack. Good husband that I am.
You did. He's a wonderful husband. And I sat on the recliner chair, putting my head back, which I then found out was the worst thing to do because when you're bleeding, the blood can go back and it could get into your lungs. So the worst thing you do when you have a nosebleed is put your head back. You're supposed to pinch your nose going forward. That would stop. That's what Dr. Feruz told us.
Her biggest fear, hypochondriac fear, was I have a head injury. I have a concussion.
I've got brain damage.
Brain damage.
Who doesn't think of that?
So I sat and talked to you for 15 minutes.
Yeah, and my nose started to swell, and I was still bleeding. It was still bleeding.
And yet, the more I talked to you, the more I realized you were totally clear-headed.
Dr. Skip.
Well,
Skip. Listen,
I diagnosed, my prognosis was,
right,
I did want to be a doctor at one point, but it was crystal clear to me
that I had
that your head was crystal clear. Like there was no issue at all with
I guess I didn't hit my
injury.
head, but maybe I did. I don't know. I hit my nose. My nose, because it was bigger, landed my head, saved my head.
Right away, she's getting black eyes under both.
And my nose, it was like that Brady Bunch when Marcia gets hit and she says, oh, my nose, when he throws the football and her nose just starts spreading. That's exactly, my nose was getting bigger than it is. And there it is. There's a big nose.
I don't know the Brady Bunch, but whatever. You
were studying or something. I don't know what you were doing. But everybody out there knows that Brady Bunch episode when Marcia gets hit in the face with the football.
So I'm like, from old sports injuries, just rub a little dirt on it and it'll be okay.
Industry.
Well, it's okay. Like you're going to be okay. So she went and saw a doctor.
Well, I went to my eye doctor, Dr. K, who's an amazing eye doctor surgeon, and he said, come in and let me check you out. And my sister took off from work that day because my sister is the best sister in the world, and she said, I'll stay with you. So she came over and she stayed with us, and then she said, I'll drive you. So we went to the doctor, and he checked me out. I had to do all these things to see if I had a concussion, and he said he could tell everything by looking in your eyes. And he looked in my eyes. He gave me a thorough exam, and he said, you don't have anything head-wise. It's just you really hurt your nose. Then I went over to our friend, the plastic surgeon, Dr. Feruz, who happened to be on the same floor, and he looked at me, and he checked it out, and he said, no. He said, I think you just chipped a piece in your nose, a bone, but it'll heal. He said, you don't need plastic surgery. I was hoping maybe I'd get a nose job out of it, but I did not break my nose.
You don't need a nose job.
Well,
she did not break her nose.
I didn't break my nose.
And by 1-ish, I had resolved that everything was going to be okay, that there had been some overreaction, even though she got busted.
The blood, again, was in the kitchen floor. It was bad. And I threw out the sweatpants I had on. I threw out the sneakers because I just did not want any part of the bad karma.
Jinx.
Yeah, jinx.
Okay.
But every time, this is the truth, 2 things that I never forget doing. Every time I'm in the kitchen and I cut my lean cuisine pizza, I think about that moment and I'm really careful. And every morning, my hand to God, that when I open the door and I let Hazel out to pee, I walk back 2 times sometimes to make sure the alarm is off. I do. I've never, ever, knock wood, did that again.
All right. So by 1 o'clock, I decided, I wanted to go to a movie because I had a rare day off, rare Friday off.
You got a hard day there. Considering you're standing from the outside looking at the person who has the problem.
This is where I get low marks as a husband because I'm not going to honor your injury the rest of the day. And I wanted her to go. And I finally said, well, if you can't go, I'm going to go because the Indiana Jones, The Last Crusade had just opened at the theaters up in the mall not far from us. I said, well, I just want to see it. I'm not the biggest Indiana Jones fan, but it's the last one. He had to get out of his
head. It was just too much trauma.
Yeah, just too much trauma. So I went by myself to Indiana Jones. And
Thank God I was allowed to
I enjoyed
in misery by myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So we survived.
We did.